Good morning and welcome to Morning Coach today. I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB, super pumped. It is January 30th, 2023, getting through a due month here, episode 4861. Excited what we got planned this week. We have got a open week, meaning every once in a while, within our compass and our framework, we have a open week that we can squeeze in some different content, and it happens a couple times a year. It's pretty cool. Just like the way it works is, we do 4 weeks, and then we have like a fifth week that kind of falls in between the months. So it gives us the opportunity to kind of go off script. So we're going to do a little bit off script this week. We're going to talk about doing the work or do the work. Something I think is really important that we all need. I need this too. We're getting to that point of the year where we're starting February now, and we're going to go into a check act, but we also are getting to the point where we're realizing some of the things we committed to, maybe we aren't that committed to, right? And we need some motivation to push it over the hump. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Tomorrow we have The Magic of Thinking Big, chapter 11 through 13. We're going to end that book. Love it. One of my favorite books of all time. Something I go back to again and again and again. There's just so many things to get your head right in that book. And it works. It works. When you start thinking a little bit bigger about things and using the ideas and attitudes in that book, it's amazing how life just takes over. Wednesday, we're going to talk about, does hard work get rewarded? Going to go into a little bit of a deeper metaphysical concept here. And we'll talk about that in depth, because there is a time when I do believe it is rewarded. There's a time it isn't, when I do feel it isn't rewarded. So we'll go over that. Thursday, of course, is Ask It JB. This is where we get your questions answered. You got some questions, shoot them over to us. Love to answer those. Friday, getting your money to work for you. A little bit of a deeper understanding about our percentages, and this will be more of our wealth and prosperity, as we've talked about. Fridays, we're really getting into that and generating some wealth on Fridays. Saturday, we got work as systems. What are some systems that can help you with that? And then Sunday, work is love made visible. Cahill Gibran. Absolutely love that statement. We'll get into that in depth. So really good week this week. Super pumped about it. It is a free week, like I said. So if you go on the compass, you won't see this topic there. It allows us to get ourselves in a good space, right, and change it up a little bit, and that's always fun. And I have to tell you, as I'm getting a little older, going to be 54 this year, so tilting a little bit, right, tilting a little bit the other direction towards 100 instead of tilting towards 0. I'm starting to get a little bit older, not losing that much energy, but losing a little bit of motivation as far as work goes. And that's why I grabbed this topic this week. As you know, a lot of times I do topics that I need, and typically they're topics that we all need to hear. But as I'm getting older, I'm starting to understand things change. And I'm reading a couple books right now because I'm going through a 90-day ab protocol and a adding muscle after 40, even though I'm 50 kind of protocol. And in researching these 90-day kind of workout plans that I'm on right now, one of the things they talk about is muscle and how muscle ages a little bit. And you can't treat it the same way as you did when you were 20, so you can't do the ballistic work and the super crazy work that you did when you were in your 20s and 30s. There's a lot of truth to that when it comes to our work and the things that we're trying to do. You see these people doing TikTok and YouTube, and they do it at such a high rate because they're in their 20s and their 30s. And I'm not saying that as you get older, you can't work. I'm not saying that at all. In fact, you can work smarter, and we'll talk about that Wednesday. But it's just that energy level isn't the same as when you're 20 years old. And I mean, that's just a fact. And there's some truth to that, even in our muscle atrophying and trying to get your body into great shape as you get older. Things change. And so we got to do things a little bit differently. And that's what I want to go over today. 4 or 5 things here that can help you get the work done. Because there's times when you just got to get the work done. You just got to go do it. And no matter how hard you work to be free, as I do, Intelligent Life Design, there's times when you got to get the work done. And I want to give you some strategic things. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to plan in advance in the work. So if you're coming into something like a house remodel, for example, that I'm going through, said I would never do it again. Literally said I will never, ever do this again. And here I am at the retreat center getting to the final stages. I mean, we're finally getting to the point where we've got the majority of the things done that we want to do, except for the external buildings that we're going to build and some of the other stuff we're building. But at least I can be comfortable here, comfortable enough to start making plans to leave again, right? It's so funny, but not in the summer I'll be here, but comfortable enough to start figuring out my winters if I'm going to go to Columbia or what, if I'm going to go down to Florida where I'm going to be. but I'm getting it there, right? But there's a lot of work, and I mean work that's just work that needs to get done, painting, plumbing repairs, electrical, that you can hire out some of it, but you can't hire out all of it because you got to get it done, right? And so it's stuff that I don't want to do. It's like, I don't want to paint. It's the last thing I want to do, but sometimes you got to do it. And so that's where you got to plan in advance. So one of the things you can do with your work is plan, okay, Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to make sure that I'm getting that work done. So if you got work at the office, okay, Mondays and Tuesdays, this is what I'm going to do. Wednesdays and Thursday, that's what I'm going to do. So that's where our Sacred Six comes in. Obviously, we talk about our daily tasks, but you may use a board for this, right? So if you've got a lot of stuff coming at you and you're feeling a little overwhelmed, this is where like my Quilla comes in and the board comes in, which is really cool. By the way, I got some bad news. This is kind of confidential, but I've gotten a few people send it to me, so I think I can announce it here, and I will put it on my YouTube channel probably this week, that Quirk Logic, the paper and the Quilla, I love that company so much. It doesn't look like they're going to make it. I'm hearing some rumors that that people are looking for jobs and they're moving on to other areas. So I've got the paper right in front of me. I know many of you have it. Quirk Logic is such a great company, but it looks like times are tough for some tech companies. It doesn't look like they're going to survive. So just giving you a heads up on that, which is fine. Our devices will work for a while. I hear they're putting a volunteer staff together to work with the people that have them. But it's sad because I really, really like that company. I was looking forward to the paper too, but it now is looking like that is not going to happen. So, and we have a lot of the Quirk Logic people listening to us. So I know they're getting ready to figure out how to plan some things and get some things working. And as we get older, that's what I'm saying, plan in advance, even like a job search and trying to recreate yourself. On Mondays and Tuesday, that's what I'm going to do this week, right? Don't get too far ahead of yourself, especially when you got a lot of things going on. But, the idea, the first point is to plan some things in advance. Get yourself in a place where you can plan and you can start to understand, okay, Monday and Tuesday, that's what I'm going to do. And again, this is where a whiteboard comes in or some type of board to write it out, and you can put that out. And you can even use a big calendar. I have a big calendar on my wall. You'll see when you come to the retreat center in the office where I can kind of space things out and see it. So you want to plan in advance. The next thing is, and this comes from Huberman, right? We want to make the dopamine hit from the effort. We want to reward the effort. And so as you're doing it, you want to pat yourself on the back. So let's say you have to do, kind of put your resume together, do a job search. Let's talk about that for a second. That's not a fun thing, right? It's not something you want to do. And you're like, okay, Monday and Tuesday, I'm dedicating 5 hours. I'm just going to sit there and get this done. I'm going to use focus management, as JB talks about, and I'm going to put this together. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then you want to reward yourself when you're doing that. You want to pat yourself on the back and say, hey, you're doing it. This is what we talked about. You're getting it done. And so we've got to push through. So reward the effort and get used to doing that. It's the task that you should be getting the dopamine hit for, not just the result. And all of a sudden you'll get motivated to do more things. I think that's huge. Of course, Mark Twain comes in and Brian Tracy. The next thing when we've got a lot of things that we got to do is that we need to eat the frog. And as you know, we've talked about this ad nauseum here on the show, but Mark Twain said, if you have to eat a frog, or if you have to eat 2 frogs, eat them in the morning, because it's probably the worst thing you're going to have to do, get it out of the way, right? And that's kind of me paraphrasing Mark Twain. Brian Tracy took that and then built a whole book and a whole coaching thing around it about really getting yourself in a position to get the tough stuff out of the way in the morning. And you get that stuff out of the way in the morning, and you can focus on other things in the afternoon. That's why I became the morning coach. In all honesty, I want to be able to do things in the afternoon. And I love being out west because when I was living in Tucson, Arizona, you could get up at 4 or 5 in the morning and do work, right? Because New York was already up because you're 3 hours ahead and be done by, 1, 2 in the afternoon. And that was such a refreshing thing because you had the whole afternoon. You could play golf. You could do whatever you wanted. On the East Coast, it's a little more difficult because people are getting up later and people tend to stay up late. So I have more of a West Coast mentality where I like to get stuff done in the morning and give me the rest of the day to do whatever I want to do. In fact, when I do this show, I get this done. I'm playing around with TikTok. I'll do some stuff. Tracy's doing a couple things for me. I try to get all of that done in the morning by 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. So I'm free for the rest of the day. I can work on the retreat center. I've got to do some marketing stuff, which I'm way back on, but we're going to get there on that. So eat the frog first thing in the morning. Another really important thing is strategic work or use of caffeine. Been studying this a lot. A lot of people drink caffeine first thing in the morning, and actually you should wait. You should wait till 9 or 10 when your cortisol levels kind of balance out. There's some real good research on this. Again, I am not a doctor. I'm not playing one here. Anytime you use any type of drug like caffeine or anything like that, please talk to your healthcare practitioner. But a lot of people drink it first thing in the morning, and it kind of wears off. Where you should use caffeine is at 10, 11 in the morning. And it can really strategically help you get through some things. As you know, I like to drink Celsius, and I cut it with a sparkling water. That's just my energy drink. It's very, and every once in a while I have a coffee. I don't like a lot of sugar, but I personally like the Celsius. It's got a little vitamins in it, and I cut it in half with water. So I'm drinking like a half a can of Celsius cut in half, right? So I never really drink more than a full can. I usually drink a half a can, and then within the half a can, I'm cutting it with water, sparkling water, and then it creates a drink for me, which gives me just enough caffeine without giving me too much, kind of a microdose of caffeine, but it really works well. So strategic works of caffeine really can get you through those tough times. You got to write, as I'm writing right now. You got to do some marketing emails, stuff that just doesn't bring joy to my heart, but it's stuff that I need to do. You just get to it and you get it done, okay? So some ideas there, just using some strategic use of caffeine. And, of course, you need to eat a great breakfast. This is big. You're going to hear me scream about this. This is something I think you need to do. I eat 4 eggs every morning, sometimes 2 eggs, and then the rest egg whites, but typically about 4 eggs, a bowl of oatmeal, banana, some fruit. I like to eat my fruit in the morning. That sugar burst is when I get it. And so I eat a really good breakfast that holds me through the day. Typically eat a decent light lunch, like a chicken breast, a salad, and a sweet potato, pretty standard. And then the evening I eat minimal. I mean, I really eat minimal, and again, sweet potato, something like that. I'll drink a shake during the day to get some added protein. Right now, I'm trying to get 150 to 200 grams of protein a day, and I'm really monitoring my calorie intake with this new diet that I'm on for the 90-day cut, or the 90-day, ab and muscle gain kind of thing. And but it all starts with a great breakfast. I mean, it really does. And if you can get in that habit of getting up a little bit early and making sure you're fueling your body, that's how I want you to think about it. It will help you get the work done. Again, you can use music. This one's my favorite thing that I talk about if you're new. This may be new for you. If you've been with me for years, you've heard me discuss this before. But movie soundtracks, I'm like a Pavlovian dog. When the bell rings, the mouth salivates. Well, when the Hans Zimmer comes on, my brain goes into work mode. It's time to get creative. It's time to write. And so I have a playlist, or I will put it on Hans Zimmer on like Apple Music and just let it pick soundtracks for me. And the great thing about soundtracks is they take you through different vibrational kind of feelings, because obviously the soundtrack's going through like high moments, low moments. And as a speaker, that's what you want to do with people at an event. You don't want to keep people at a super high level all the time because they'll burn out. So the great thing about playlists that are theatrical or based on movies is they do the same thing. They kind of bring you down so you're not just so hyper the whole time, and then they bring you up, and then they'll bring you back down a little bit. A little bit different than just like throwing on Slayer and Metallica and just jamming out at Rammstein, which I do sometimes if I really got to get some stuff done, like if I'm painting or something. But typically I like the flow, especially with creative work, using movie soundtracks. Really, really big secret of mine. The last thing I want to talk about, and I think this is important, it's something I haven't talked about in a long time, and that's calling a coach. Like, if you don't have a coach, you need your coach. Like, you need somebody that's in your corner fighting for you, helping you build your belief. I have mine. I have mine in various areas of my life. And every once in a while, I'll look for new ones. Like, I'll look for some new mentors that are doing some cool stuff that can teach me things that I need to learn. But, a coach can help you. It can help you just to get that motivation. And that works. And along those lines, mastermind and retreats help, because you go and you meet people that are doing cool stuff, and you say, man, I can do that. And it gives you that energy to get the work done. And you see what they're doing. You're like, man, I need to do that. If that person can do it, I can do it. I laugh because I've always said I built my business on people looking at me and going, if JB can do it, I can do it, right? And it's kind of the same thing. You want to look at people and go, wow, I can do this. I can do it, and get that energy, and then you start doing it. And you need to recharge every once in a while. I mean, you do. You need to get out. The Cabo recharge was so good for me, even though, in full disclosure, I did drink, and I did drink a little bit too much. We stayed up and watched the sun come up. It was actually a very joyful time. It was fun, and I enjoyed it. And I got a break, and it was a mental break that I needed. It gave me the energy that I needed to come back and start doing some work. So we want to do the work. That's what we're going to do this week. Get into it. Start putting that energy out there. And if you got any questions or anything, let me know. Let's keep the energy positive. This is your coaching situation or your solution right here, okay, at morningcoach.com. So I love you. Get out there. Have a fantastic day. Let's put some energy out there, and I'll be back with you tomorrow right here on the show, okay? So let's go do it to it. I love you. Go make it happen. All right, you made it to the end. Great to have you. Thanks so much for listening. It tells a lot about you, how awesome you are. Hey, listen, we got a new annual plan over at morningcoach.com. You can work with me on a daily basis. Pretty awesome. Get this every single day, plus our wonderful belt system, our coaching. Everything that we got going on is really cool. And all you got to do is go over to morningcoach.com and click the join now. And as I said, we got a great annual plan for you. Super pumped to have you. So go over to click a join now and get started today. Literally, as soon as you click join now, you'll get access to a wonderful library of amazing things. And of course, the most important thing, the daily coaching that you're going to get from us right here at morningcoach.com. So we'll see you over at morningcoach.com. Click that join now button.